Hi everyone, my name is Sofia Danen, and I am here representing EXARC to discuss the role of cultural institutions such as open-air museums and experimental archaeology in sustainability. So first off, I'm going to show you guys an overview of the topics that I will be discussing in today's session. Last year at the Association for Living History Farm and Agricultural Museums, or ALFAM, we had a conference where we discussed similar topics, particularly reflecting on what we as an organization have done so far and what we can do to improve. Over the past year, our team has been reflecting on what we feel is missing in the community for this sustainable transition to occur more smoothly, and this is the main message we hope to bring across to you. So first, I will provide a little bit of background into our organization. Then, we will move on to the foundations of sustainability itself and how we went from that to the SDGs. Next, I will explore the role of museums in the SDGs and how the role has been understood and adapted by different players. And finally, I will reflect upon the actions of members within the EXARC network and how they have been adapted to meet the goals of becoming more sustainable. We at EXARC have come up with an approach that can be modeled and applied to each organization and hope to inspire you with our 10 simple actions approach, and then we will round off with some general take-home points. So who am I and who is EXARC? My name is Sofia Danen, as you may have seen on the title page. I am a master's student at Maastricht University and UNU Merit, following 2 degrees in public policy and sustainability policy. I joined EXARC about a year ago as a sustainability officer volunteer, and thus far I have been dedicating my free time to help EXARC present at conferences and reflect on how sustainability can be better introduced to the world of museums and cultural institutions in general. EXARC is a network of professionals in the field of archaeology and open-air museums. The aim is to exchange experiences, tips and tricks, and best practices, and to share this knowledge within the network and broader EXARC community. Our mission is to make the archaeological past accessible to all and to facilitate research and education. This mission links quite well to the SDGs, specifically on education and partnerships for the future, Goal 4 and 17, which we will explore a bit more later. We have specific target groups, namely museums, higher education institutions, organizations, and individuals, and we hope to bridge the gap between these groups and foster continuous learning and communication from one another. So next, I'm going to discuss the idea of sustainability. What really is sustainability? What does it mean to be sustainable? It's very difficult to apply the SDGs or work towards a sustainable future without properly understanding what sustainability really is. And I hope that these slides will enlighten you all and provide you with a simple but overarching understanding of the term sustainability. I have highlighted 3 main points that are relevant to our understanding of sustainability. First, that sustainability is a long-term goal. Making a sustainable choice today doesn't lead to sustainability. What does that mean? Well, in order to understand that, first we'll cover the remaining 2 points. That sustainability is often perceived to be only an environmental concept, and taking environmentally conscious actions such as recycling or cycling to work instead of driving, etc., as the core of sustainability. However, in practice, sustainability is an all-encompassing concept. It is about the social, environmental, cultural, and economic spheres. As we have learned and experienced over the past years, our actions today can have long-lasting consequences. Sustainability, then, is about maintaining the same level of something or ensuring that the resources we use today are available to future generations. Therefore, we need to promote this understanding of this balanced relationship between giving and taking in all aspects of our life. In order to ensure a sustainable future, this balance needs to be better understood and more deeply entrenched in the progression of our society. So next, I'll discuss what are the SDGs. The Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs as commonly referred to, defined by the UN, are a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and improve the lives and prospects of everyone, everywhere. The 17 goals were adopted by all UN member states in 2015 as part of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which set out a 15-year plan to achieve these goals. The goals range from tackling poverty and hunger, education and health, environmental aspects such as sustainable cities, responsible consumption, climate action, but also focusing on institutions and their role in reaching these goals. These goals are non-binding, and they are broken down into targets amounting to 169 targets. These are mostly to be used as a reference on what actions can be taken. Additionally, these goals are interdisciplinary and interdependent. The interdisciplinarity stems from the idea that they touch upon a wide variety of areas, from cultural goals to wildlife and environmental goals, innovation and social goals. On the other hand, the interdependent aspect comes from the fact that all goals are linked with one another. By implementing sustainable actions throughout organizations and individual lifestyles, many goals can be achieved at once, some faster than others, but all progress counts. Now, the main question arises, how and why do the Sustainable Development Goals apply to museums? This connection will be the highlight of the next few slides. Here, I hope to explore the link between SDGs and museums in a little bit more detail and hope to help you guys understand what it's all about. So first, I'm going to talk about Jasper Visser. He is a leader in the development of SDGs and museums, and he has approached the integration of the SDGs in the museum world as building upon three aspects. In particular, he highlighted areas where museums may take the lead, provide support, or promote change within their institutions. He did that by looking at the targets under each overarching SDG goal. Although we find this approach very useful in structuring actions, it can seem a bit overwhelming trying to address so many individual aspects at once. Therefore, we at EXARC propose a different approach. First, we want to emphasize starting internally by doing a review of current approaches that either already are sustainable, require small adaptations to become sustainable, or practices that we can identify as unsustainable. By reflecting on these points, it's much easier to identify gaps and find a feasible starting point. Another aspect of our approach is sharing, particularly between organizations with similar missions in your area, but also with those abroad and cultural institutions in general. This is where EXARC can be useful. By connecting with EXARC's existing network, those within the field can be of help to each other in sharing their experiences in adapting towards being sustainable, but also those who still have not found ways to make this shift towards sustainability and then can learn from these experiences. It's important to highlight these final points on the SDGs and sustainable practices in general. There is no one-size-fits-all model. Approaches that we at EXARC take might not be relevant to other cultural institutions in Brazil, for example. The approaches will vary between organizations, and that is why it's of importance to be respectful of each other's journey. Additionally, the path to sustainability is not linear. As our world changes, our circumstances change too, and we must be open to accepting the process of adopting SDGs and sustainability at the core of our organizations. If it were as easy as it sounds, states wouldn't be struggling as they are to reach these goals, and it is important to reflect on that and support each other on this journey. Next, I hope to introduce some examples of actions that we consider sustainable that are currently being used by members of our network. These are a compilation from several members within our network and are all equally valuable. First, we have supporting local businesses. By supporting your local industry, you are promoting better practices and helping small businesses grow. Second, we have workshops on seasonal products and learning about the area. Being aware of the practices of your region is very important in order to foster a better relationship with the environment and the community. And this goes into the next point of keeping traditions alive. It's very important to be connected with the historical past of our region so we can also respect it moving forward. Next, we have reaching an eco-label. This can be in the forms of recycling, cleaning products, energy sources, making sure they all meet a green standard. This, of course, will differ per country, but it is important to try to reach these goals anyways. The next point is to reintroduce local plants. As the environment has changed, as we have built new houses, a lot of the local wildlife has suffered, and a lot of times it has been removed because it's not so pretty or because it serves no particular purpose. But it's always important to protect our natural flora and fauna, and so reintroducing local plants is a good way to reconnect with our environment. And finally, we have collaborating with local businesses to reduce waste and costs. And this is a good approach towards a circular relationship. Promoting circularity can be very beneficial for all of the local businesses, but also for the consumers, and it is important to consider that moving forward. Next, I'll discuss the 10 simple actions. This framework of the 10 simple actions was developed by us at EXARC, and it is an effort to engage our network in different ways that could promote further sustainable action. Our goal with this is to show our members that actions can take different forms and they can range from being simple, immediate actions, but also some might require a bit more preparation and planning. What we hope this will do for you is inspire you to develop some 10 simple actions linked to your organization and let that be a guiding point in the development of more concrete sustainable development. As you can see, these 10 simple actions are strongly linked to our archaeological connection. However, this can of course be adapted to your organization to reflect a different approach. The actions are as follows. First, use sustainable solutions. Second, use as much as possible local resources, employ local people, promote equality in your businesses. Use archaeology to highlight the connections between humans and nature. Next, we can explain the impact that climate change has had on our planet and is specifically in our region. We can create a guide that displays how ancient solutions can be updated to be of use today. Or we can work with the biodiversity of our site. Next, we can also promote partnerships between museums and groups like Fridays for Future. And finally, we can make sustainable collaborations, share our work, and think further than collecting. These actions are ones we came up with that link strongly to EXARC and our community, but for you that might be different. So please feel free to take these actions as an inspiration and adapt them to your organization. Next, I'm going to give you guys a message from us to you. The journey towards sustainability shouldn't be individual, and it requires community effort. We cannot achieve the success that we need in sustainability on our own. However, different institutions might approach the sustainable transition in different ways, and in this way, we can also learn from each other's successes and failures. We want to highlight the fact that sustainability is not a competition. It's actually a way to better increase our communication and our learning, and this point is very important to us. We feel there is a bit of a sense of competition between organizations and showing one to be better than another for having better or more sustainable practices, and that simply isn't a constructive approach to take. As we highlighted before, we are in this together, and rather than competing, we shouldn't shame each other for our differences and support each other to facilitate this transition and make lasting impacts. So we have some goals for the future, and we're coming to an end. So before concluding the highlights of this presentation, I want to leave you with these goals. First, we hope we can inspire you, our audience, but also help you inspire your peers and your community to trigger a change towards sustainability. We hope we can continue engaging in dialogues on sustainability with our community and inspire you to do the same. We have much to learn from each other, and we can only do that by sharing our insights and experiences and also being open to learning from these experiences. So now we have reached the last part of the presentation, and we would like to emphasize some things. It might seem very overwhelming to consider our actions and adapt them to fit into our sustainability goals. However, we all start somewhere. The goal shouldn't be to reach perfection as soon as possible, because no one is perfect and everyone has room to grow. We should rather focus on triggering a larger change in our institutions and communities so we can make the change together and make it less scary. The final and most important points are to remember to be supportive of each other and celebrate each other's successes. We have to try to avoid competing for a better standing and reframe our perspective to lift each other collectively for joint success. More important is to build a solid foundation and to do it slowly. If all the building blocks are clearly defined and implemented, reaching the ultimate goal of sustainability won't be so overwhelming. Thank you everybody for listening. We hope you have managed to get some good takeaway points and that you can find ways to apply it at your own organization.